I probably should have started the music first. There it is. Yo, what's happening? It's the Real Rap Coalition podcast. We back at it again. We were just here earlier today, but I'll be back here again. Doing this motherfucking, this is the last part of this segment, this crash course segment leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine. This is the Logan episode. Uh, yeah, I am black ass motherfucking Roots. Who else in this bitch?
KTL and the L stand for Logan, man. We in this bitch.
Hey, yeah, motherfucking. This has actually been. I'll say this is my second most entertaining crash course because I can't put shit before Scream just because I definitely was a Scream fan before I was a Marvel fan.
Mm-hmm.
But this shit, like I don't think I've seen a bad movie in this. Like there's a couple of them Screams that is not it, but like these movies right here is fire as shit. Like
I think
I don't think we've done a bad one yet.
the lowest rating I gave to one of these movies was in the sevens. It was either a 7 or a 7.5 or some shit.
You remember which one it
I
was?
I think it might have been Origins. It might have been like when we started.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But like I don't. Some of that shit is probably, you know, rose tinted glasses and shit from me being such a Wolverine fan and such a fucking, X-Men fan and whatnot of all this shit. I mean, I didn't get to like review a couple of the movies, so but I don't think that they would have been low at that point. But yeah, I think they maintain the quality over most of this shit. A lot of them, like over the course of this crash course, we've seen different movies than each other, though. You know what I'm saying? Like they did some different shit. Like obviously, Deadpool is the first Deadpool is very different from the first X-Men. So
Most
I
definitely.
just kind of gotta like watch some shit for what it is. But I think that like it's just so dope, man. Like uh, at the risk of sounding like stating the obvious and whatnot, like it's really dope how creative the human mind is and shit. That they're like all this shit here came from a motherfucker imagination. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like motherfucker create. Shout out Stan Lee. You know what I'm saying? That boy's a
Rest
dog.
in peace,
R.I.P.
Stanley.
You know what I'm saying? But like the creative imagination to create all these characters and these stories and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just incredible, honestly.
In which shout out to the writers as well, because though he gave the foundation, he gave the platform. There
Hmm.
was some very good writers involved with putting in the work for the different comics, and then those going into the different movies.
Yeah, they had to,
Which
find some shit to translate to the screen
most
with.
definitely, most definitely. Which they I found something out. I may have mentioned this before, but the director of the first X-Men would not allow any comic books like on set. Like I don't know exactly why. Like the first thing I can think of is maybe committing to the character on how he wants to see it, or the director, or
Yeah.
maybe committing to the script itself and how it's written. So you don't have too much of people, going out of the boundaries that are set. But shout out Kevin Feige. He pulled Hugh Jackman to the side and let him read some comic books, and at that point he was probably the most versed in X-Men at the time.
Well, I
So
remember
he pulled him
motherfuckers
to the
saying that
good.
like Hugh Jackman was kind of ass when he started being Wolverine.
Most definitely, most definitely.
They was on his ass on the set, so maybe he needed that.
Well, I mean, he was a fucking Australian Broadway type motherfucker.
Uh huh.
So taking that and then putting it on the set, and he's probably being the most aggressive character that he's played at that point. It's different. It's mad different. He's a fucking Wolverine starts off as a cocky snob in the fucking first one. Like he's a dick. And, to transition being, jolly and singy and dancey and shit on stage to now you're in front of a camera and you got these lines and you got this character that you have to portray that you don't really know nothing about. I can understand how it might be difficult to conjure up this character that you don't know much about. But again, shout out to Kevin Feige. He gave, a lot of influence to Hugh Jackman on how to do this character, and that grew into the Logan that we have in this movie.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing is that this movie. What year was this movie released? Was it
2018,
2017?
2017 type shit. Yeah,
So that's a 17-year journey, both of a person and of a character,
crazy.
since X-Men 1, and over that course, what we saw at least like 7 films,
Hmm.
with Hugh Jackman in that bitch playing as Wolverine.
Hmm.
And you get to see like the character development over the course of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because uh, whether you consider it X-Men Origins or X-Men 2000 as the starting point for Wolverine, this just ended up being an entirely different character at the end. And for people that generally watch, episodic TV shows, people love to
Mm.
watch the growth of characters from the
I was
start
literally
to the
thinking the
end
same
of a
shit.
show. You know what I'm saying? But right here, we just get it in small glimpses, and it's just gradual. It never really, like this, the gap between this and like the Wolverine probably feels like the biggest, jump or whatever.
Mm.
But it never really feels too forced, I don't think. You
Even
know.
chronologically, so where this starts at is 5 years after uh where we ended with Days of Future Past.
Okay.
But even in that, there's still a huge jump because so much has happened off camera prior
Yeah.
to this setting that they're in. You got the X-Men dying, you got Professor X getting sick, you
There ain't
got
no
Logan getting
mutant
sick.
no mutants been born in 25 years or some shit.
Yeah, like that's a crazy jump. So to put him in this light apocalyptic type setting where he hasn't been before. I mean, I guess you could call it that whenever they start in Days of Future Past, but to put him in this and to kind of make him like the old wounded dog or the old war veteran where he's
I'll
not
say this.
as go
This
ahead, go ahead.
kind of has a superhero Last of Us type of vibe.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like
most
like
definitely,
it
most definitely.
like old man Logan is definitely Joel, you know what I'm saying? And Laura is like Ellie and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
Which is
and
a dope concept because we didn't get a lot of that between Logan and Rogue. That's kind of where you see him kind of in a mentor slash protector
mhm.
of someone younger than him.
Yes.
Whereas with this, he's essentially being that to someone who directly came from him.
Mhm.
So that's a huge difference. And also with the callousness that he's grown towards just other people in general, he has to kind of lower that for this X-24 character Lauren. Which
And
shout out to Millie Bobby Brown. She didn't get the part. We got who we got, and I think she did a very great job. It's crazy. Like there are actually kids that are capable of putting on great performances, actors, and there are grown actors that can't do that. Like that's insane to me.
Well, yeah, because it's like it's underrated in society that like acting is a skill or a talent. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
motherfuckers view that a lot as like you have it or you don't know. You can practice this shit a lot. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
Like with experience and whatnot. Like there's some inherent things that you can be good at, but like these kids can be way better actors than adults because they've been out here, doing movies and shows and shit.
Since
You know what
fucking
I'm saying?
birth, pretty much.
Yeah,
Even down to the stunt girl for Lauren, she's 11 years old. So you got a 11-year-old girl doing all these flips and kicks and punches and all that shit. It remind me of
hmm
I can't remember his name, but the nigga who played Shark Boy back in the day, or
I
Jacob,
know.
or whichever one he played in fucking Twilight.
Taylor
Like he was
Lautner.
like that. There it is. Taylor Lautner. Which shout out Taylor Lautner. I don't know what the fuck happened to him. He fell off after a pretty bad movie. He just kind of disappeared. But uh, that's a talent in itself of in which they say that kids are like blank canvases, so it's a lot easier to teach them shit. But like the fact that there's an 11-year-old child doing these fucking stunts that people die doing. Like people die doing these stunts, bro, and she's doing crazy shit.
hmm One thing that I've said it a lot of times during the crash course, but I mean it the most here, is
Mm,
that this shit they gave an adult theme to a movie that needed an adult theme. You
mm,
know what I'm saying? Like
mm,
motherfucking, a lot of the time that we've watched, Wolverine has been, like oh he's got his powers and he does his shit, but like within combat and whatnot, he don't really land on. He'll stab a motherfucker, where you can't see the claws, stabbing a motherfucker or
mm.
whatever. But like here, he's cutting off limbs. He's putting his claws through people's jaws and shit, in their
Facts,
face and whatnot. You know, Lauren, she's getting active. She's flipping and spin kicking with a blade out her foot,
bro. The
and
crazy ass. I don't even know what to call like jujitsu shit she's doing, flipping
that
over
shit was damn
motherfuckers
near
and shit.
capoeira and shit, bro.
Bro, that shit was so fire, bro. And then to have towards the end, Logan doing that same type shit once he juice up off the
Mm-hmm.
little green shit, he go and do himself a little flip body, toss the nigga over there, move. That shit was cold as fuck. And then I'm always a fan, even going back to when we was watching X-Men 97, the pair up moves is some of the coldest shit, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's some of the coldest shit in any fight choreography. Seeing two people pair up and just trying to kind of like feed off each other is some of the dopest shit. And then to convey that chemistry on screen is even better because they have to learn this shit. Like they have to learn this shit and then do it either scene by like shot by shot or no one take pause that shit. In the matter of 30 seconds. So you got all this shit going on that you have to, act out physically. Try not to hit motherfuckers. Even Bruce Lee accidentally punched motherfuckers sometimes. And that's
Mm-hmm.
dangerous in itself.
Yeah,
So
motherfuckers.
shout out to the fight choreographers on this shit too. That shit this is a dope ass movie, bro.
I was about to say beyond that, like fucking, the setting and whatnot, all that shit is like very adult too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like Professor X is dropping, f bombs in the start
Which
of
we
the
never
fucking
seen
movie.
before, which is super
You
fire.
know, like motherfucking, like they told an adult Wolverine story, which is something that needed to happen. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Um, Hold on a second. Slim out here messaging me and shit. Fuck out of here,
If
dude.
that nigga don't
But uh yeah, so that shit right there, the like okay, so let me first say this, right?
mm,
I'm gonna be honest. This movie been out since 2017. I never went to watch this movie.
what?
I didn't because I was like, man, they finna. Like, I told you I'm such a huge Wolverine fan. I wasn't
You thought
finna
they
go
was gonna
watch
hold it.
Wolverine die. Fuck
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
nah, I
saying?
feel that. I
I
feel
wasn't
that.
gonna go watch this movie and be like, oh well, I got to watch all this journey of this character and they killed the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And like I
Yeah,
heard
nah, I
good
feel that.
things about it. I looked it up, fun stat ahead of the trivia. This shit opened as like the third highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
Crazy.
It currently sits at eighth, because since then Deadpool 2 dropped, that's
Of
above
course.
it. Oppenheimer is above it, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying, as an R-rated movie. And there's like a few more, but still it's like the eighth highest
Bro,
grossing
to go from
R-rated
3
movie
to
ever
8
created.
in what 7, 8, 9,
Six
10, 11,
years.
12, 13. Yeah, 6 years. Like there's movies that can't stay in the top nothing for a week.
Yeah, but so like I say, I went into this shit, not having seen any of this motherfucker before. I knew like the gist of what happened because
Mm,
people talk about it and shit, but I never got to watch this movie. So like I say, I'm seeing at the start of the movie, and I guess this is a good time to get into it. The start of the
mm,
movie,
mm.
old man Logan is over there, dealing with some Mexican carjackers and shit. You know what I'm saying? And like he trying not to do it to him. And that motherfucker finally had enough. Boy, they was trying to whoop his ass. They was shooting him. Boy, he got to cutting off arms and legs. He put his claws through a motherfucker face. All type of shit. Boy, they had a bad fucking day. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
nah. To pull up to jack somebody wheels and you've been successful in this career of taking people's shit for however long, and then you just so happen to stumble
To run
across
into the
one of the
wrong
few
motherfucker.
mutants that's left in the fucking world. And though he is old, he is not old enough to fucking kill
And
you
he is one of the only mutants who can survive getting shot in the fucking face or whatever.
with a fucking shotgun. Like I'm pretty sure dude was like, all right, this is over with. Shot dude, and then they just went back to what the fuck they was doing. Don't nobody get up from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get back up, and this nigga, not only is he fine, but he's talking. Like he's absolutely unfazed by the shotgun shells you just put in his fucking chest.
Yeah, that's
And
got to
now he
be
about to whoop your ass.
Yeah, that's got to be a hell of an experience. And like they probably could have still made it because he wasn't even on smoke with them like that. He was like, all
He
right, man,
really
that's
wasn't,
enough of
bro. He
that
was
shit.
just like, bro,
And
like
they
I'm
could have went
leasing
about
this.
their
Could you
business.
chill, please?
Like they could have went about their business, but no. Now all of a sudden you out here, fermenting the land. Like,
I'll never be too tough. A nigga hop up from a gunshot and say, "Hey, bro, I said chill. I'm chilled now.
yeah, I'm
I'm
about to say
cool."
because I don't know how much more I can escalate from a bullet.
From
You know what I'm saying? Like what?
I met your words with gunfire, and you got up with more words. I'm
Yeah,
done.
well, you know what I'm saying? Like these knuckles ain't gonna do nothing. I just hit you with a bullet, dog. Like, but yeah, so what I was saying, like so they, then you go from there, and you have the little, interactions and whatnot about like him being basically a fucking, I'm not gonna say an Uber driver, but basically a fucking,
I mean, pretty
limo
much an Uber
driver
driver.
or some shit. So that motherfucker goes and does what he does, and but the point I want to get to is that you end up seeing this barren fucking wasteland out in Mexico that he goes to, where he's got old 97-year-old Charles Xavier stuck in a fucking tank. You know what I'm saying? With like getting shots and taking meds and shit. Because if he has a seizure, he fuck around and kill everybody in this bitch. You
Shout
know
out
what I'm
for
saying?
TV.
That motherfucker. Shout out to Buddy, but this motherfucker was out here, bro. Like, at first I was like, I was like observing this shit, and Charles was sitting there like talking crazy to him. He was like, this ain't no way to live. You got me locked up. Fuck you. You're waiting for me to die and all this shit. And I'm like, damn, what's going? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's going on here? Is he really like
Yeah,
trying to hold his Professor Xavier character now? You know, but
but
like
like
you
you
find out.
realize that he hates seeing him like this. Like this is his first mentor. This is equivalent
This
to
is the father figure that he has left.
exactly. Like this is equivalent to someone taking someone off the streets, teaching them all of these things, showing them a better life, and now fucking cancer is getting to them, and you have to take care of them through that. Like he
And
has
this
to
motherfucker,
suffer. He has to suffer with him, bro.
and the crazy thing is, it goes both ways. The motherfucker, Charles, he's sitting there and he says, "What, you don't recognize me?" Or he said some shit. He was like, "You don't know who I am?" He said, "I always know who you are. I just don't recognize you sometimes." And while that can be interpreted as a line about, like his mind is failing and he's trying to compensate for,
Mm,
like I'm not slipping. It's also like you are not who you once were either, and I hate to see
mm,
you in this manner. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Because like that's a 97-year-old man, but that's also still a 97-year-old man who is one of the greatest minds to have ever lived. You know what
Yo,
I'm saying? That
what?
motherfucker. Okay. Uh, that
Hey, bro,
motherfucker.
you gotta chill.
That
Go
motherfucker.
ahead.
He got some damn. Like somebody makes a pertinent point of it that like it's really comedic and poetic that a brain disease is getting to the most powerful brain that
Mm,
ever lived and shit.
to the
Like,
point where his mind is considered a weapon of mass destruction.
yeah,
Like
and the government,
he,
they're like, as soon as the government, remember, we watched what is it, First Class and shit, and
yeah,
all of that shit. Even if it's a different timeline, the government is fully willing to utilize Charles Xavier for his mental powers and this and that. But that
once it's
motherfucker,
uncontrollable, it's different.
yeah, I'm about to say, once it get dangerous, now you don't, now you want to take him off the streets and shit. Like that shit is really wicked to me. But
Yeah, that's how the
like,
government works.
and then like he had a seizure and shit, killed
You
600
you
people, or
you you might be
affected
right. Lights
600
out.
people. Yeah, he affected like 600 people and killed some of the X-Men and shit. You know what I'm saying? So you get to watch his journey through here, like he's struggling, not being the man that he once wanted to be. Charles
Mm,
Xavier always wanted to be, a good man and help mutants and whatnot. And finally, due to something that's out of his control, he is a danger, and can't do anything about it. And he's
mm.
hurt the people that he's sought to do so much for. So I think
And
that
you
that's.
know that's gotta hurt him to the even if he has a hard time remember it, and we get a little bit of a monologue from him right before he passes. But
Mm-hmm.
at one point in time, he was considered the savior of his species, or at
Mm-hmm.
least one of them. And he lived his life to lead these people to a better way, a better side. And for all that to come to an abrupt halt because of his age is devastating. And his power, in what he used to help people, has killed some of the closest people that he has led and has
Let me
become
put it
friends
into
with and
perspective
mentored.
for you, Roots. This
Mm,
motherfucker lived his entire life trying to, advance the betterment and lead to people, acknowledging and accepting mutants and whatnot. He went through all of that shit for people to still be, horrendous bigots and they have to live in secrecy and, all of his students and his children being persecuted. Now he is a 90 some odd year old man, damn near
mm,
on death's door. His own mind is slipping from him, so he can't help people anymore. He's actively, able to kill people if not suppressed enough. And there's no mutants that have been born in the last 25 years. So it basically looks like his whole life, life's work has been for nothing. It is but a blink in the passage of time, that will be remembered in as a page in a history book one day. And that's all of that up until they find out that Laura and these genetically engineered mutants are like they exist and it's not over with yet. And that's a big symbolism of this shit, is that a motherfucker like has given up all hope, but
mm.
there's that he finally finds something at the end to where like his passing can be less painful and feel less futile. you know
Right, right, most definitely. I want to get to a couple of these what's it called, comments real quick. So Lights Out Television said, if I go listen to the Deadpool episodes, is that good enough to refresh my memory, or should I still watch the movies?
You should still
Me
watch the movies
personally,
because they're great.
I would definitely still watch the movies because they're great movies. However, if you don't have time and you're pressure time and you're just looking to get a good glimpse of everything, I think going to watch a couple of recaps, ours included, would maybe suffice, but it depends on how much you want to know before going into the movie. Because I'm willing to admit that there was probably some things that we missed, whether it be on camera or off camera, or
The
just
first Deadpool
information in
episode,
general.
the first Deadpool episode is a great 45-minute recap of the fucking, the movie and shit. I can't co-sign that second one because that was
No,
just
most
Seth Bruce. I don't know what they
definitely.
did.
Fur TV says recites the Burger King commercial of Angry Whopper like it's God's Bible while making Eastwood Torino bar jokes about a banging health, Heath
Heath
Ledger
Ledger,
and Wooderson.
Wooderson.
That was definitely hilarious. Where Charles is like, and it reminded me of if you're listening to an old FM radio and you're turning a knob and you're hearing different shit as you're turning the knob. That's what it reminded me of, and that's kind of a example of where Charles' mind is. It's just every fucking where. You know, he goes from reciting a fucking commercial about a burger to reciting the Bible to making jokes about Clint Eastwood. Like that, like that's crazy to see that this was once the greatest mind, and now the greatest mind is reduced to fucking putty, radioactive putty, but putty nonetheless. Uh,
This motherfucker.
uh, Slim, Slim says, "Do I need to watch Logan to know something about the new one?" Uh,
They're probably going to make reference to it. I would
yeah,
be
they're probably gonna.
very surprised if they
So
didn't.
the three main ones that I would watch if I was looking to just get to good standing, whether it's a refresher or just being brand new to it, I would watch. There's actually a few of them. I would watch the first X-Men. I would watch X-Men Days of Future Past. I would watch Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan.
Yeah,
Those would give a good. So the first X-Men just gives you a layout of X-Men in itself. Deadpool 1 and 2 gets you uh 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 it allows you to be able to recognize what type of character Deadpool is. Days of Future Past lets you know kind of the timeline wise where things start and where they end up. And Logan gives you a blueprint of where we last saw Logan. Now, from my research that I've done, the Logan that we see in Wolverine and Deadpool is not going to be the same one that we saw die. That's from what I saw, but it still gives you a pretty good
yeah.
blueprint and a
Like
map
I
of things.
say, I don't know what they're gonna do. They'll probably end up plucking that motherfucker from somewhere earlier in the timeline and shit. You know, for these purposes, and it'll be like a split continuity type of thing.
Mm.
But that's what I assume will be. Um, but yeah,
Slim says maybe watch First Class before Days of Future Past so you can have both timelines. That's probably a good idea to go and watch those two just so you can see like I said where things start, where they end up, and kind of give you a general knowledge of the timeline and kind of how it works.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna hit too many of the crazy plot points of this movie. You know what I'm saying? Go watch the movie if you haven't.
Mhm.
Um, one thing one thing I was gonna say a minute ago though about that Charles shit. That boy Charles was happy than a motherfucker when Wolverine bought them clothes. That boy got to wear a hat and shit. He gave Wolverine, he said, "Here, Logan, it's yours." He said, "I'm not gonna put that shit on now. I'll put it on when we get to the room." Like he's out here like you got it, like it is kind of like some Last of Us vibes too. Like old man Logan is out here with an old, dementia ridden man and a fucking little girl that doesn't speak English and shit. And
Or
he's,
at least as far as
he's
he know
sitting
at
there.
that point.
They're just doing stupid shit. They're just fucking shit up. She's pressing all the buttons on the elevator, and he's like, "Well, we do need some clothes, like so he can buy some clothes and shit." Like he's like, "God damn it, man! Am I the only adult here?" Like,
Yeah, Logan is just he's hard set on let me get these motherfuckers where they gotta go so I can get Charles out to the ocean and we both can fucking die in peace. But all this
mm-hmm,
shit keeps happening. And it's kind of what it's an extension of what Logan is or Wolverine or whatever Hugh Jackman's character throughout the entire series of, we know that Logan is the main character when it comes to X-Men. Even when he's not in the movie a lot, they still see it necessary to bring him into the movie at some point in time. Even going
mm-hmm.
to Days of Future Past where we only see not Days of Future Past, what was it? Apocalypse, where we
Apocalypse.
only see him for like 5 minutes, but it's still he's an iconic character. He's on the level of Tony Stark in the Avengers movies, or even Captain America.
Yeah, that's a fact. So like I say, through this shit, a short plot synopsis. Old man Logan has to take, he has to take Laura to North Dakota and shit. Where there's supposedly Eden, this fucking colony of mutants and whatnot, and they're going to have safe haven. Apparently, they're going to Canada and shit.
Yeah,
Um, while they're being hunted by the government agents or whatever. I won't even say it's government. It might just be like a private company or whatever. But it's
mm.
connected to the motherfuckers from Alkali Lake and shit. Who did this experimentation that fucked him up in the first place.
A
Um,
business owned by Mr. Sinister. For those who didn't know,
see what I'm
also,
saying?
for those who didn't know, both Wolverine and Deadpool are from Canada.
Yep, Canadian as fuck, man. There's probably gonna be some jokes about that in the movie.
Oh, I guarantee it
Uh,
will. He Deadpool always makes jokes about Canada, or somebody tries to talk shit and he buck up like he gonna do something. One thing for sure, if Brad Pitt met his younger self in Fight Club of Future Past, the number one rule would be we never talk about Fight Club and never trust Jane ever.
that's
I
two
don't.
rules, man.
Yeah, that's two rules, and I don't not 100% sure about that.
But
But yeah.
yeah, this motherfucking like they go through the whole journey and shit, and you know like one thing that I appreciate too is like if you see like some of the scenes where they like pause after the combat, they've
Mm.
still like Laura and Logan both still have like blood on their knuckles, you know what I'm saying, from stabbing and killing motherfuckers, because they claws will go back and will heal and shit, but they still got the blood from all these wounds and shit, other
Which is
people's shit.
disgusting when you think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Um, but I think that that's a real cool attention to detail that I wanted to point out and shit.
Most definitely.
Uh,
There's also I didn't notice this the first few times that I watched it, but after watching a breakdown and then going back and watching Logan, there's actually what is it, adamantium
yeah,
dust that comes off of Logan when he gets shot and when he gets hit hard, which is kind of a testament to the his sickness, and he has the basically what Logan is dealing with throughout this. He has basically like metal poisoning
yeah,
from this stuff being in
because
his body for so long.
I was about to say, yeah, like that shit is literally like, in your immune system, and it's a fucking toxic metal. That shit will definitely poison you and shit. You know, but yeah, and one thing I'll address too, they got that little dude Richter and shit in here. That's the little dude from
Mm.
On My Block. You know what I'm saying? That Netflix show.
I meant to
So
watch that,
shout
and
out
I
to
thought
him.
that kid
It's
looked
all right.
familiar.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's all right. I recognized him immediately. I was like, oh shit, hey, that's that little dude. I don't know his name, but shout out to him. But yeah, and then he's keep like you got Caliban and shit. He's albino as fuck, out there
Mm.
living in a tank and shit, trying to take care of sickly ass Charles. and then they
And
kidnap
sickly
his
ass
bitch
Logan.
ass. Yeah, and they kidnap his bitch ass and have him as basically like a bloodhound, helping track them motherfuckers. Um, but I'll say he went out like a gangster. I ain't gonna lie.
Hell yeah.
That boy was stuck in a truck and shit. He got his hands on two grenades. He told that motherfucker, stay out of the light, and then pulled the pin on them bitches and threw them hoes. That shit was crazy, boy.
You get scenes where you get the classic Logan where he steps in, and I think that's probably in almost every movie that we see him in, where he's actually like relevant in the movie, where he has to step in for somebody. He in the Wolverine he stepped in for the bear.
Mm-hmm.
In uh Days of Future Past, even though I mean it was his fault, he stepped in to protect the woman, or he stepped in also in Wolverine to protect the girl from that. He steps in and protects I forget his name, but the black
The
family. He
farm,
stepped in and
yeah,
protect
the
them
farmer dude.
from them, yeah, from them goofy ass redneck cowboy motherfuckers that's trying to control the water flow to
I was
motherfuckers'
ready for
houses
that
and
scene
shit.
to be about action, boy. All he did was step up, take that gun, snap that bitch, and sock Buddy in his shit.
It's
I was
absolutely
like, damn, they
hilarious,
just
and
ran
it's
off
dope. And it's
like
dope
a
to see
kid.
that he can still do shit like that even in his sickly state.
Yeah, that shit is, I don't know, man. But and then that
Shout out
black
to the
family.
wife of the farmer. That I don't know her name at all, but she played the girlfriend in Money Talks, the Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen movie from the 90s.
hmm That black family did the most horrible because they ain't even really do nothing, and then they just got smoked by a damn
Yeah, they got
fake
holed by a
Wolverine and
clone
shit.
Wolverine for no fucking reason.
And that's crazy too. That's pretty much how like Charles gets his whole monologue and shit right before he dies and whatnot, and then
Mm,
gets killed, by X-24 and shit. Meanwhile, like when Laura's getting taken away by that motherfucker, Logan he makes sure that he goes and like picks up Charles and shit, and he tells him like it wasn't me, it wasn't me and shit. He wants him to know that like he didn't do that shit as he lay
right.
dying, and I think that that's a real like pertinent detail and shit. Um,
Fur TV says apparently I asked GBT to research the Marvel timeline. We are in on this Earth, and apparently it is Marvel's golden age of development of all the superheroes. How crazy is that? So time travel. Uh, Not 100% sure you, bro. Are you an AI? 'Cause, like
no,
it seems like you're a malfunctioning AI. Like the only thing that you said that made any sense was this shit right here.
No, that didn't
And
even make sense, Roots. You just tried to like I'll let you do it, but you just tried to attribute some shit. That those little, asterisks on the side are that
Mm.
person saying that they're doing that. You know what I'm saying? So like they were
Oh
saying
yeah,
that
I
they
didn't even
was
notice
doing
that.
that shit. Like this motherfucker just, out here having fun, making some goofy little troll comments and shit. I just been letting it go. You've been reading them all, but
Well, we got
uh
to interact with the people. Shout out to the 8 people viewing. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on, so you can get notifications once we go live. Uh, yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you though.
That's a good joke.
Thanks, man.
I'm real. Don't worry. Appreciate it. Thank you for letting us know, bro. What was you about to
But
say?
no, the like, and then so my bad, I lost track of what I
No,
was
no, you
saying.
good.
Yeah, so Charles gets smoked, and after they do all the fight scene and shit, they impale that motherfucking Wolverine clone on whatever the fuck that was. Buddy gets a truck ran through him, then gets shot in the goddamn face, a bunch of
Twice.
times and shit. They
And
leave
it
him,
sucks that dude died. Like he let off all them shots into the fake Wolverine, saw the real Wolverine, and
and
he
then
don't know
tried
which
to
is
let it
which.
off.
Whether it was because he's lost this amount of blood, or he honestly thinks that I mean, technically, he will be right in thinking that you were the one that caused
I
this
was
to
about
my
to say
family.
that's how I took it. Was that like he didn't mistake him for anything. He was like, bro, you got my family killed and shit. I'm gonna kill you too, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And that's just he ran out of shells, but that's just something that Wolverine got to deal with.
I don't know why dude put these eyes, but Lights Out said Fur TV might be a mook. Subscribe though, bro.
That shit hilarious. But
but
yeah, like that's just some shit that Wolverine got to deal with now. Where like
yeah,
now
just
he
just
has
to
to deal
pile
with
on to the other
the
shit
guilt.
that he's
You
already
know.
dealt with as far as guilt. He probably feels some type of guilt for taking care of Charles after all of his other friends were murdered by Charles. Like that's just the mind of an old
I would like to
soldier.
know who all died. Like as a result of that shit. They never say it. They just say some of the X Men
Right.
were
Yeah,
killed and
they
shit.
leave it kind of. I think the word is ambiguous, or just up to interpretation. But they do say that I want to say it was seven of them that died,
Hmm.
the X Men wise, and a
Yep.
lot more other people as well. So you have to assume that he pretty much took out the damn near the entire school.
Hmm. But I ain't gonna lie, man. This dude Wolverine passes out so many times in this fucking movie,
It's a
and
ridiculous
a
amount.
few of them happen back
It's like
to
a
back. Like
fainting
at the
goat.
end of the movie, he must pass out 3, 4 times. I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah, a lot of the progression time wise is spent while he's unconscious. That is a
Uh
fact.
huh. You know what I'm saying? At one point, I looked away to look at my phone for a minute. I look back. Wolverine's waking up, tied to a damn thing, getting raised in the air and shit up the side of
Yeah,
a
little
mountain.
gurney stretcher.
I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? I'm like, wasn't you just passed out like fucking 3 minutes ago in the
Bro, the
car?
nigga went to sleep in the car. He woke up, took 12 steps, saw Lauren up at the top of the cliff, passed out again,
And
woke
right
up
before that,
being
he had been
hoisted.
passed out at the doctor's office, and then he got
Right.
in the car and started driving. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
what the
no, this
fuck?
nigga, he's fucked up, bro. Like he's fucked up bad.
That boy was out there carrying a damn adamantium bullet, finna shoot himself in the face and shit at one point. Just dome piece himself,
Yeah,
But
the amount of emotion that they put into
self hate and
Wolverine
self
story
loathing and
outside.
shit.
Yeah, like just that's like his character. He just walk around with that all the time, like his whole fucking life. Whether it be from his old days of being a fucking merc or his newer days of guilt because of what happened with Jean and him having to kill her, or with the newer shit of Charles taking out all of these mutants and shit, and him being one of the only ones to survive. The motherfucker definitely
Mm-hmm.
got survivor's guilt like a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question, Roots. Now that we done
Mm,
seen all of the, Deadpool is yet to be seen, but over the course of this, we've seen three different trilogies. Which one is the
mm.
best? The first
Well,
X Men one, the second X Men one, or the Wolverine solo trilogy?
I gotta say the Wolverine solo trilogy, honestly. Though it
I think,
starts out kind of bad with
yeah.
Origins in hindsight, it jumps so far up in quality with the second one, and then it jumps up even more with Logan. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
like and they give the best storyline because they're focused on one person, and you get to learn so much. I think all of them start with some type of flashback, except for this one. The first and second one do, and you get a chance to follow the timeline of the main character, whereas everything else is in current time, or with the second, X-Men shit, they were just really just trying to tell, I guess, a different story in in like the build up and with this new timeline and shit. But the second X-Men shit just jumps around so much. And the best movie from the first X-Men trilogy is the last one. And I
I
think it
don't
has
think
something to
so.
do with the fact that Hugh Jackman is again the lead character.
I think the best movie in the first trilogy is the second one.
Clear main. Slim says clear main character two. Is he the only other X Men member with his own solo movie. Dude might three more movies.
Have
I guess
yeah.
do three more or have three more movies that than any other member. That's a fact. I don't think any. So they were supposed to do a Storm Origins. It fell through because FX started to do the merger with Disney, so they never got a chance to go to it. But I think that would have been fire as well. Do I think they would have did it like how it was supposed to be done? No, just because for one, they wasn't gonna have Halle Berry play like the new person. They would have stuck some other black woman in there. Which I mean, shout out to black bitches, but Halle Berry is
And
Halle
why
Berry,
wouldn't they
bro.
have had
Like she
Halle
definitely
Berry?
deserved to. Bro, she got hold all through the first fucking three,
I
and then
don't
they
know,
brought
man.
her
That
back.
last one, she had a lot of
Uh,
talking parts.
talking about the third X Men movie.
Yeah, and the third one, man, she was like the main one of the main characters.
Yes, most definitely she did, but they didn't even create a base for her.
Well, you said that
Like
she
we
had to like
barely even found
press
anything out
Disney to
about her.
get that shit anyway.
So Slim also says, and I don't even think Origins was bad. People had a problem with the continuity issues.
I just
I
don't even think
mean,
it was
you're
that.
gonna
I
get
didn't
that.
care about the continuity shit. I just think it's the weakest movie we watched.
And you're gonna get continuity issues with shit like this because it's either you expect them to go based off of what you already know, which is the movies, or the comic book nerds expect it to be very comic book accurate. However, a lot of stuff that happens in comic books or in books in general don't translate well on the screen. He also says first class in Days of Future Past, 2 out of 2, but didn't get to review the rest. No,
Yeah,
that's
Slim,
fact.
we talked about it before then, and afterwards, after this shit is over, we might just end up doing like watching Apocalypse and doing that as the bonus episode for the crash course.
Right.
You know what
Most
I'm
definitely.
saying? Might as well.
Her role increased every time Logan is main character though, so it ain't about her. Yeah, it most definitely is. It's definitely not about her. But I think I would have. What? Oh man, it's a move. It's either a movie or a show that I watched at some point where it was a team of people or a group of people, and every episode focused on a different person of the group. I think they did enough movies to be able to do that to at least expand a little bit more, in which the only expansion that we got on a character that meant anything was in the third one where we get, Jean Grey, but she's made out to be kind of the villain in the movie. So that makes sense to do that. But I think they could have did more story wise with the other characters, but you only have a finite amount of time before you start boring people that's watching the movie. Lights Out Television said Origins that is ass. I wouldn't say it's ass. I think it served its purpose, and I have to consider where FX was movie wise at that point in time. Fur TV says, "What do you think about the original 2004 Hulk growing bigger every time he gets angrier? Flaw in current Marvel movies." I always thought that was stupid. It didn't make any sense because that's not a real thing. Like they inserted that for no fucking reason. Also,
Well,
the
so
2004 Hulk is a terrible fucking movie.
I
Absolutely
don't
terrible.
agree. I never thought that. Like people thought that. I even rewatched it like a few years ago because I bought like
Mm,
the whole, box set of all like the Marvel movies and shit leading up to it, and it had the
yeah,
first Hulk in it. That's the first movie before Iron Man 1.
right.
I watched that whole again. I didn't think it was that bad. You know what I'm saying?
I
But
saw what they were trying to do. Certain things cinematically, like with the transitions, they made them as if they were doing the comic book transitions. It just even back then it looks really grainy. Everything looked ashy as fuck.
I
The
just think
the
that
the
like Ed
depiction that they did of
Norton.
Hulk was okay though.
Yeah, I'm about to say Ed Norton's Hulk is cooler than what's his
What's that
name's Hulk?
motherfucking
Mark
name?
Ruffalo.
Yeah,
Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, in my opinion. Now like Mark Ruffalo might have like the better character progression because he had more
mm,
time, but I think that just like Ed Norton's Hulk was just out here not giving a fuck about nothing. He was smoking shit.
Ed Norton was the one from the Incredible Hulk, correct?
Yeah.
What was the dude's name from
Okay,
the
so
first
yeah,
one?
and yeah, and there's another one. I forgot about that. I saw that movie too whenever I was young. I haven't seen that in forever. But
Right.
I can't. All I remember from that shit was that like I think they did some shit with like Doom. Who was it? Well, it wasn't Doomsday. That I don't know why I said Doomsday.
Hmm.
Fucking whatever the name of the dude is, Abomination or Red Hulk or some
Mm-hmm.
shit. They did something where like that motherfucker was
Abomination.
like his dad or something, and like a military
Oh yeah,
motherfucker. Like
yeah, 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 yeah.
they did a whole bunch of weird shit.
Yeah, they had his
Hey, yo,
dad. First of
Slim.
all, they made him what happened? Hulk bro. What? Oh, I get what he's saying. I get what he's
I
saying.
don't.
He's talking about that shit. He's talking about that shit that Pools brought up whenever we had the versus shit
Oh
between
yeah, I forgot.
Winter
Yeah,
Soldier
Pools
and
was out
Jax.
there talking about how big Jax was. That was crazy. Pools, you a
No,
wild
that's a
boy,
fact.
man.
The first one did get thrown out. Uh, Lifestyle say Jack's bro taller, not bigger.
That's
Feared
not
said
what
that
I
was a
heard a
lie and that wasn't
motherfucker
canon.
say.
So
Yeah, that's. But I like to address that point. I do think that like the Hulk don't get bigger. Pause. He just like he gets angry and he gets stronger and shit.
right.
You know what I'm saying? But like I don't think it like is relative to the size of the hero.
Whoa.
Um, is that
I
a pause? I didn't.
don't
I thought
know.
about it before I said it, but I figured if I said hero, it would be okay. I don't know, but none
But
of this shit is about any of it. Go ahead.
yeah, I was about to get us back centered on Logan.
Yeah, I just
The
all I really still care to like talk about is the end of the movie. Um, you know, he called people mooks. I
All
think
right,
they had a
we'll
movie
address
to
this
do
last one
Silver
and then
Surfer
we'll
with
we'll try
Galactus.
to yeah, we'll try to wrap up like quickly pause after this one. So you think Silver Surfer will make an appearance with Galactus
I
soon?
think they
So
had
there
plans for that.
is they do have plans for so Galactus might be the next big bad, seeing as they're pivoting from Kang because of all that shit that happened with
Why is
Jonathan
that, bro?
Majors. Because people believe white women. Um,
Oh, okay.
so, and also they're looking to do X-Men versus Avengers at some point. That's also being rumored as of right now. I don't know if they will do Silver Surfer justice. I remember thinking that that was like the dopest character I had ever seen at that point in time,
You
and
ain't
I
never
don't
watched
know.
Fantastic Four 2? Rise of the Silver Surfer?
That's what I'm saying. Like I think that shit was so fire back then. I don't know if they'll do it justice today.
That Silver Surfer
But
motherfucker kind of cold. I ain't gonna lie to you.
he cold as shit. He also might be a bitch because definitely what he was doing. He was doing Galactus bidding and shit.
Hey man,
2025 Secret Wars. That's a fact. But to go back to Logan, he passes out like a fainting goat several fucking times. He wakes up and the shit done popped off. All the kids trying to cross the border and oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back to a couple of things that I think the dialogue once Lauren starts talking was super
yes,
fire because
yeah,
you get the Logan that is still callous, and then you start to see him kind of open up emotionally with this person that he's starting to see as a smaller him, and start to kind of try to mentor her through this shit that she feels. He
yeah,
wakes up from one of his infamous nightmares, and they have a conversation about that. They talk about the amount of killing that they've done and will do, and Logan gives the advice that you just gonna have to learn to deal with that shit. Like living this life is it's gonna be some shit that is gonna happen. You know, Logan killed his true love in Jean. And though she's 11, there like she's killed so many people already, and there's probably gonna be a point where she's gonna have to take out somebody she cares about because this is the world that they live in. You know,
Hmm.
so I thought that was super dope of them having that one on one talk.
I think
Uh,
that the coldest shit is like towards the end. You know what I'm saying? Like there, he gets to like letting them know that he's not going with him and shit. You know that he got her to where she need to be. They're finna go to Canada. You know what I'm saying? Do what you do. And she gets pissed, and he's like, "Yeah, I gave him the money back and all this." And she's like, "Oh," and she's like, "What a good
you're
man,"
such a
and this
nice
and that.
man. Yeah.
And he tells that he's saying all this shit. He's like, "Yeah, I can't do this and that. I've got, do you see what it's cost me?" He's like, "Everybody or he said everybody I care about dies or some shit." And she says, "I'll be fine then," or some shit like that. That shit is cold than a bitch, boy.
Yeah,
He
she's
told,
like she's a little Logan. She's like, all right, bet, don't worry about it. I'll do this shit
well,
by myself
she's
then.
like, if if some shit happens to all the people you care about, you don't give a fuck about me, so I'm gonna be good. You know
Fire.
what I'm
I ain't
saying?
even. Oh my god, I didn't even
Like,
think about that.
yeah, I was like, oh shit, like that
Cold
shit.
little motherfucker.
Hell yeah, but yeah, all the shit pops off. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Logan injects himself with that shit. That basically like overdrives his healing and his fighting capabilities. They go and take out all of these reavers and
Henchmen
shit.
and shit.
And what's his name? What was the dude name?
I
The
don't
like
remember his
villain.
name.
I was about to say, but he got some horrible shit happen to him, boy.
Nigga had grass attacking him. He had a bitch breathing
Frozen
sub-zero air
shit
on
on him.
her
The
on him,
motherfucker
like
was
he getting
shocking him.
electrocuted. Yeah, like and all of this is happening by a bunch of kids that
I
I
said,
mean, you had to see this coming, bro. Like if they're ever gonna get any power over you, they're gonna hoe you like badly.
mm-hmm. Hey, Slim, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's no such thing as being too old to cry over bitches. But
This the second bitch though. Logan really funny as hell. He crying over another nigga bitch. What are you talking about? Oh, with Gene. Yeah, no,
he
most
talking
definitely.
about that gene shit, and that don't matter. Shit, she was my bitch too. She was his bitch, but she was my
He was
bitch. You
our
know what I'm
bitch,
saying? Yeah, I'm about to
nigga.
say, yeah, shit. We had joint custody of that bitch, but yeah. So he goes through and like they take out all them motherfuckers, and then he basically like he's sitting there trying to fight X-24, but that shit didn't worn off. So he getting smoked. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was close in the first, but like it got to the point where Buddy got on his ass and he knew it
Bro,
was
he got
over with.
impaled. Like it
He
was
tried about
up.
to say he tries to send the kids away, and Buddy took him and like stabbed him through the pancreas and shit on a big ass tree limb. And
In
the whole time
which you
Laura
have to
just came in
see
dome piece, Buddy.
how fire it is with how brutal we've seen Wolverine through all of these series of, just whooping the shit and killing the shit out of motherfuckers for him to then be the victim of his own violence at the end of the movie. Like that's poetic in itself. You know what I'm saying? Like
Slim, that's not true, man. It don't
what
matter
happened?
about. I didn't
First
say there
bitch
wasn't
was
nothing
the
about the first bitch. I said you ain't never
saber
too
tooth.
old for that shit. And what if he do go get another bitch? That bitch just gonna get killed too. Like, damn, how many
Yeah,
times
bro.
you
Like
want to
he
see Wolverine bitch
how
die?
yeah, like I was just about to say that.
Slim just
Like,
want to
come
see
on, bro.
Logan suffer, man.
He's suffered and gone through enough, bro. Like, leave him alone.
But
But
yeah. So he gets
that's the second
smoked and
time we've done
shit.
that shit.
Laura blow the skull off a motherfucker. With an adamantium bullet and shit. Um, and then she just chopped the limb, the tree limb off, so he can just lay there up against the tree. And I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. They did the little ending monologue and shit, and that shit almost got me, man.
Bro, I
The
swear
moment,
to God.
the
I
moment,
swear to God,
it
I was
wasn't the
thinking the
rest of that
same
shit,
shit. Like, bro, I'm
but
not
the
gonna cry, but
moment
this shit tough.
I was about to say, the moment that she just said, "Daddy," I was like, "Oh fuck, man."
Bruh. Oh my God.
I said,
Like,
"Fuck." Like,
that shit is so fucked, bro. Like she's never had a father figure, and the one that is the closest thing to a father figure that she's gonna get, which is actually biologically her father. He get killed right, like he gives his life for her, and
I ain't gonna lie,
she
this
just
movie's
loses him.
got to take place over the course of about a week. So like they probably only been linked for like a week too.
You know, she
So
this whole time, her whole life, she's been looking for to try to understand and to be understood. And the one person that could come the closest to understanding her dies in front of her. Right as
yep.
she like not too long after she actually is able to be open with this nigga.
And in the in the same way, Wolverine had lost everything and shit, everything and everyone. So the moment that he's able to make a substantial connection, and be the mentor, the father figure that he's always wanted to be, he just fucking dies.
I don't know
You know
about
what I'm
wanted to
saying?
be, but he's definitely always been called to be that. He was
I
that
think that
for
like
Yumiko, he was that for Rogue, and then he was that for Lauren.
I think that he, what I'm saying. I think that like when he was with that bitch in the Origins movie, I think
Mm.
he wanted to do all that family shit with that bitch. You know what I'm
Oh
saying? He
yeah,
was
most
settled with
definitely.
her being a lumberjack and shit.
Yeah, most definitely. But yeah, man, it was a dope ending to the movie. She does the monologue of uh the Clint Eastwood movie in which, to go back a little bit, Patrick Stewart actually uh freestyled that scene where he's talking about seeing the movie growing up. That's not, like some Professor Xavier lore. That came from his real life. So him talking about seeing it back in the theater whenever it first came out, that was him talking about something that he actually went through. And sharing that on screen and freestyling that, I thought that was super fucking dope. I didn't find that out until watching the breakdown. But
My bad, bro. I had
for
to
her to
go
do
pick
no,
one
no,
of
you
these
good.
different bitches to cry over.
But for Lauren to use that as like her final words for her father, I thought that was dope as fuck.
I'm not
And
gonna
then
lie
they
to you.
go ahead,
I
go ahead.
couldn't understand that final thing what she was saying. I didn't know what
Really?
what she was saying. What was it? It was the thing from that movie.
Yeah, it was a thing from the movie that her and Charles was watching when they were
I'm
in the
about to say
hotel
I
room.
heard like a part of like what was being said, and I was trying to figure out like where that quote could have came from. You know what I'm saying? But that's fire if that's the case.
Hey, Slim said, moral of the story KTL, you better not be 40 crying
I
over
ain't
no
gonna
hoes,
lie to
bro.
you, Slim. I'll probably be like I could be like 70 something crying over some hoes if the hoe is that special. Shit. And what Slim, you know what I'm saying? What if I fall in love, the love of my life and shit dies? You know what I'm saying? I'm an old ass man, just sad as fuck. My bitch just
Nah,
died, man.
according to Slim, you better not cry, bro.
I ain't gonna lie
You
to you,
better not
bro.
fucking
Slim,
cry.
man. All right.
Slim know damn well if he find
I
a
promise
female
you, Slim
special
done
love
cried
and
over
she
some
fucking
bitches
die
before.
in front of him, he's gonna fucking cry.
Beyond that, if you had to kill your own bitch for the betterment, you know what I'm saying, so everybody else could survive, and you love that hoe,
Shit, I don't love nobody else as much as I love this bitch, and I gotta kill her
I'm
for
just saying.
y'all.
Beyond that, I know Slim done cried over some hoes before. I can't lie to you.
Nah,
It
that
ain't a
nigga,
doubt in my mind.
that's Max Slim right there, bro. He don't cry over this.
Man, I don't care about none of that. But
But
yeah, that shit. They did. This is one of the Marvel movies without a post-credit sequence, obviously for a reason.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? They just leave
yeah,
you on the somber note and shit. She tilts the little cross to make an X on his grave
fire.
and shit. You know what I'm saying? And that was like a part of the movie too. Was that like she was a comic book fan and shit. Motherfuckers in canon, in universe, created comic books about
Mm.
Wolverine and Professor X and all these people and shit. Wolverine's like some of this shit happened, but a lot of this is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And that
Yeah, he said this
motherfucker
shit
was
happened one
able to.
time and they made a whole fucking bullshit franchise out about it because of some motherfucker wanting to be what did he say? It was like some idiot in a leotard wanting some type of recognition or some shit.
I agree with Lights Out here, man. I don't think it's nothing wrong with crying over your bitch that died. It's a problem crying over a bitch that leave you, you know. And I think, depending on the circumstance, you can even cry over that shit, but you better pick yourself and dust yourself off. You can't do it forever. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't
He
nothing
said.
wrong. Ain't
He
nothing
said
wrong
he.
with dropping
He
tears,
said he
bro.
think his dead wife is the same as some hoes.
But
That shit's funny.
yeah, I think they did Logan justice with
Justice.
this
Yep.
with this movie, bro. Like I think this is probably one of the best ones. Is they ended it the best way they could end it with a with a very emotional and very ironic death. Like the only person that could kill him was a clone of himself.
Yeah, well, and
You
now
know,
I think that was like a good point too. Was that a motherfucker was like cooking the whole movie and shit. You know what I'm saying? So like it just puts back into perspective. Like, damn, Prime Wolverine was a bad motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? He got active and shit.
even dying, he still got active. So it has to have you wonder: did they really do him justice throughout the movie series to have him die being this cold with a fucking metal poisoning sickness killing him the entire time? Oh wait a minute, he crying over her death for 4 movies. Nah, he got to get over that shit eventually. No,
I'm gonna
he's
be
not
honest.
dying.
He
He's not
wasn't.
crying over her death for 4 movies. I
I'm
don't know
about
what
to
you're
say
talking
he
about.
wasn't crying in this movie. I don't know what that's
Yeah,
what
no
that's.
point that he actually cried over it. I don't think I ever
No,
saw it.
yeah,
Well,
he
no, 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 no,
did.
no, no. He
Yeah,
did. He
he did.
cried. He cried when Gene. No, when Charles died. He cried when Charles died. He cried when he killed Gene. Those
I
are the
don't
only
know,
times
man. I
I've
think
seen
he
him
kind
cry.
of thugged that shit out when Charles died. I don't think he really cried. He went over and he sat in the truck, tried to start that bitch, and that bitch wouldn't start, so he started beating the fuck out of it with a shovel.
No, 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 no,
Like,
no. I'm talking about when Charles died in the third X Men.
oh,
Yeah, he
I'm about
definitely
to,
cried over that.
I
Him
know,
and
like
Storm cried together.
yeah, like he dropped some tears when he had to kill that bitch too. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I still think you can hold on to that shit. Like that's some shit that's gonna stay with you. But
Who else? Nigga been sad as hell and dreaming about her since 2008. He didn't start dreaming about her until the Wolverine. That's the only time they showed him dreaming about her. Any other time that they made mention to it, maybe in the third one, it was more so of
I
him
don't know,
hearing
man.
her
Like
voice
like I
calling
say,
out to him.
I get it, man. We're tough, we're masculine and this and that. We're toxic masculinity and shit. That's what's going on here, man. You just
Nothing
gotta
wrong
like
with crying when your partner die either. That's a fact.
I'm about to say you can, you know what I'm saying. You can have your own set of beliefs and your principles and whatnot, and you can say like however you gonna feel. Me personally, I think that like a lot of that shit is just bred within the belief that we grew up with, where like men are supposed to be super tough and shit. Man, I don't think it's nothing wrong with having emotions about some shit that should emotionally connect to you. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't
Everything in
about
life,
me. Go ahead.
temporary KTL. It's understandable in the moment, but you gotta move
Yeah,
on
you
with
gotta
your
move, and
life
that's
at
what
some
the
point.
motherfucker did. He done moved on with his life. He done did all this shit. Yeah,
But
he's still depressed
grief
and
is
like
still a
fucked
thing.
up
Yeah,
about it.
grief is still a thing, bro. Like you can't tell somebody how to
Slim,
grieve
we just
if
the last Wolverine movie we just seen him out here fucking with that Asian bitch. You know what I'm
facts.
saying? Like he going out and like getting some new hoes and shit. But he definitely like you can definitely still be, you know what I'm saying, haunted by the memory of some bad shit that
Of
happened.
you killing the one bitch that the or well I guess the second one because he don't but technically he don't
You
even
don't
remember
remember the
the
other
first
one.
one. So in his mind at that point, the second bitch or the first bitch that he's ever loved to that point, he had to kill her. Like that's some traumatizing shit, bro.
Hey
That's not
man, that
no regular, oh,
motherfucker.
my bitch died from cancer, or oh, a nigga took my bitch, or she
I
died
don't
in
care.
a
Motherfucker
car
said she
accident.
was evil. He deserved to kill her. So that make it easier. Shit, I
She
love
ain't do
me.
nothing to him personally.
I done fell in love with some evil bitches, boy. I can't lie to you.
Like,
Shit, that don't matter. Fuck, it still, you know what I'm saying? It still sucked when I had to leave that evil hoe alone.
if I love a bitch and she try to kill me and my partner's after, I'm not about to be depressed about her for 10 years.
Well,
Well,
hey,
that's you,
bro.
Slim.
I'm about to
But you
say,
also
go
don't
ahead.
have mutant powers, and I
I'm
got
God.
Wolverine smoking the shit out you. So what you gonna do about that?
I ain't gonna lie to you, Slim wouldn't have survived that
He
bitch
tried to
trying to
kill
kill
them
him.
roots. What you mean she didn't do nothing to him personally? I don't know if he tried. I mean, I don't know if that she tried to kill him.
Yeah, I'm about to say he just walked in a wave of like fucking psychic energy that she had in order to stop her. He could have just left that island, been like, "Damn, I hate that this shit happened. All right, let me go get on this boat and leave." You know what I'm saying? At any point, but he was the hero. He wanted to be the hero and shit. Like,
Niggas distressed. Distressed is crazy over hoes that want to murder them and their team. You ain't have none of this shit to talk whenever we was watching the movie, nigga.
hell no, he didn't. He done been on all of these hoes except this one.
In this one where you talking the most shit,
This
trying to
shit's
hold the shit out of Logan,
crazy,
bro.
bro. I don't want to hear trying to say today. Fuck all that, the villain and shit. You could have went. You and your team. Don't say she was like. It'd be one thing if she had like pulled up on you and your partners trying to smoke y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's another thing if she over here trying to do some dastardly shit and you and your team pull
You and
up
your partners
and
pull up on
y'all
her, yeah.
press an issue. Y'all like stop evildoer and hell yeah. Now some shit's happening. You could have just went about your business and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all
Like
making it
you
seem
could
like
have
he's
went.
still at it. I don't know
You
what you
could
mean by still at it, but like the nigga, bro.
because he's
First of
saying
all, he ain't
because we're
even
talking
mentioned.
about how Wolverine got a lot of loss in his life and shit and that shit. You know what I'm saying? He's still dealing with that shit, bro.
He
Trauma
do.
doesn't go away in life. You know what I'm saying? If you here's the thing, Slim. Here's what I'm saying. If your mama died when you was a kid and shit, 20 years later, you can still have moments where you be upset about your dead mama and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, nah. That watch you gonna. Well, that's different because that's the
Well,
different
no,
nigga.
he's gonna say moments. Yeah, you can do it for a moment, but come on, bro, you gotta live.
They fight evil. He did what he had to do, and it's over. He
He
did what
said,
he had to do, and he feel horrible about that shit, bro. Point blank, period. That
"Hell
nigga want to
yeah."
be sad about that shit. He can be sad about that shit.
Well, he
He
ain't
still
feeling
lived and did
nothing
what the
now.
fuck
Paul
he needed to do
Necessary, he dead.
along the way.
Yeah, he dead now. He ain't tripping off nothing now.
And he ain't feeling shit now.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think we need to keep talking about this shit. I think we can just like score the
Yeah, that's a
movie
fact.
and give final thoughts and get out of here. You want to go first?
Final thoughts. I don't have a rating. I don't think I've given any of these a rating that I can remember. But this is definitely one of the best depictions that we've seen of Wolverine slash Logan. They made him out to be not made him out to be, but and they depicted him as a a legend to some, a old relic to others, but he remain to be that nigga in this motherfucking movie. I seen him do some fire shit. I seen him survive some fire shit. You know what I'm saying? I seen him be a father figure to his child. I seen him be a protector for his oldest friend, Charles. I seen him just be a very wide ranging character, and I think the death that he had, though it was sad, it was a beautiful death, so to speak. So I fuck with this movie a lot. This may be one of my favorite movies of the Fox side of Marvel shit. And yeah, that's all I got.
I am such a huge Wolverine fan. Like growing up, that was my favorite superhero. You know what I'm saying? I thought Spider-Man was cool and shit. I thought Batman was cool, but like Wolverine, that was my dog. Um, Over the course of these movies, you've gotten to see him go from a hot-headed, brash loner attempting to learn how to work as a member of a team and be a hero to this point where he is a grizzled and calculated old man attempting to use what little he has left to put some good into a world that he's brought so much evil to. He is a man on a mission where he is trying to protect people still to his dying breath that he cares about. And I think that that's the important part of this movie. Wolverine was never going to get a happy ending, I don't think. The character could only go out one way. A man who lives in violence cannot attempt to gain peace in his later years. That violence and the karma and things that you have done over the course of your life will follow you, and eventually it will probably catch up to you. This was, like I say, I didn't watch the movie at first because I was like, I don't want to see them kill my dog and shit. This was a good, a good death scene though, man. Hold on a second. My bad, I had to sneeze. So
You good?
this was a good death scene, and it was a good journey to get to this destination. And I think that if they wanted to do future things, involving lore and whatnot, it gives a good setup to, future franchises and shit. And I think that the important part, like, this is a movie where it's more so about the journey than the destination.
Mm,
Um, I gave Deadpool a 9. I think I'll give this a 9 as well, but for, differing reasons that I mentioned. It's a long movie. I started the
mm,
movie and I was looking. I said, "God damn, 2 hours and 17 minutes," and it was okay. It was good throughout. I wish it was a little bit shorter of a movie. Personally,
mm.
I don't know if I think that there's filler, but I just think that that's a long time to sit down. But you have to have some patience with cinema, so that's fair. Um, but I do think that between, like, I didn't watch Deadpool 2 back yet, so I don't know if I will prefer that to this.
Mm.
But this is definitely a top 3, top 2 entry, in this series. And I'm really glad that we did this crash course so I had a chance to watch it. I would have watched it eventually, of course. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? But I think that this is a fantastic movie, man.
Most definitely. To answer this last comment, didn't Wolverine already kill Deadpool prototype? Yes, he did, but also Deadpool killed Deadpool
I was about to say,
prototype.
yeah,
Go
yeah, that's
watch
exactly
Deadpool
what I
2.
was about to say.
So,
So
but yeah, man, that's all we got.
I think we
Make sure
plan on
y'all. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think we plan on reviewing Deadpool and Wolverine Saturday. Hopefully,
Yeah,
Roots is gonna go see it on Thursday. I think Slim is gonna see it Friday. I'm probably gonna see it either Friday or Saturday. So we'll, give our reviews and whatnot. It's all been leading up to this. It's been a good crash course, man.
yeah, and we appreciate y'all that took the journey with us. I'm pretty sure there's a few of y'all that
And
have
all the
been
viewers,
here.
man. Like,
Yeah, most definitely.
we've been putting
Y'all
some
got the
numbers
first
up.
X-Men up to 1.5K, bro.
Yeah.
That's a large amount of views that we haven't seen in a little minute, and it's only been out for 2 months. And though that may seem like a long time for some, for us, every bit counts. So we
I'm gonna be
definitely
honest, like,
appreciate
it's
y'all's
one
viewership.
thing that, like, it'd be one thing if there was gradual, like, that shit just spiked, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So whenever people discovered it, that shit just spiked. So, shout out to everybody that went and watched that.
yeah. So for everybody that's gonna watch this, we very much appreciate y'all viewership. Hit the like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on the notification bell so you can be notified when we go live again for Saturday, when we review Deadpool and Wolverine. And we are out this bitch.